auto color, auto contrast, and auto levels effects. The auto color, auto contrast, and auto levels effects make quick global adjustments to a clip. Auto color adjusts contrast and color by neutralizing the midtones and clipping the white and black pixels. Auto contrast adjusts the overall contrast and mixture of colors, without introducing or removing color casts. Auto levels automatically corrects the highlights and shadows. Because auto levels adjusts each color channel individually, it may remove or introduce color casts. The convolution kernel effect changes the brightness values of each pixel in the clip according to a mathematical operation known as a convolution. A convolution overlays a matrix of numbers onto a matrix of pixels, multiplies each underlying pixel's value by the number that overlays it, and replaces the central pixel's value with the sum of all of these multiplications. This is performed for each pixel in the image. The convolution kernel settings include a set of controls that represent cells in a 3x3 grid of pixel brightness multipliers. Labels on the controls, which begin with the letter M, indicate their position in the matrix. The M11 control, for example, affects the cell in the first row and first column of the grid. The M32 control affects the cell in the third row and second column. Extract effect. The extract effect removes colors from a video clip, creating a grayscale image. Pixels with luminance values less than the black input level or greater than the white input level are made black. Everything between those points will appear gray or white. Levels effect. The levels effect manipulates the brightness and contrast of a clip. It combines the functions of the color balance, gamma correction, brightness, and contrast, and invert effects. This effect functions much the same as the levels effect in After Effects. The Level Settings dialog box displays a histogram of the current frame, Windows only. Lighting Effects effect. The Lighting Effects effect applies lighting effects on a clip with up to 5 lights to introduce creative lighting. Lighting effects lets you control lighting properties such as lighting type, direction, intensity, color, lighting center, and lighting spread. There is also a bump layer control to use textures or patterns from other footage to produce special lighting effects such as a 3D-like surface effect. Prog Amp effect. The Prog Amp effect emulates the processing amplifier found on standard video equipment. This effect adjusts the brightness, contrast, hue, saturation, and split percent of a clip's image. Shadow/highlight effect. The shadow/highlight effect brightens shadowed subjects in an image and reduces the highlights in an image. This effect doesn't darken or lighten an entire image, it adjusts the shadows and highlights independently, based on the surrounding pixels. You can also adjust the overall contrast of an image. The default settings are for fixing images with backlighting problems. Auto amounts. If this option is selected, the shadow amount and highlight amount values are ignored, and automatically determined amounts are used that are appropriate for lightening and restoring detail to the shadows. Selecting this option also activates the temporal smoothing control. Shadow amount. The amount to lighten shadows in the image. This control is active only if you deselect auto amounts. Highlight amount. The amount to darken highlights in the image. This control is active only if you deselect auto amounts. Temporal smoothing. The range of adjacent frames, in seconds, analyzed to determine the amount of correction needed for each frame, relative to its surrounding frames. If temporal smoothing is 0, each frame is analyzed independently, without regard for surrounding frames. Temporal smoothing can result in smoother-looking corrections over time. Scene detect. If this option is selected, frames beyond the scene change are ignored when surrounding frames are analyzed for temporal smoothing. Blend with original.